You looked at my phone.
Yeah, one time.
Yeah.
And I found some things.
I know you can't drive at night.
Yes, I can. What are you talking about?
I think that's okay. You don't think it's okay?
No. You want me to put my dogs out there in the world?
I mean, if it's $500.
This week, we will be sharing the 10 signs that you are insecure in your relationship. And lastly, we will also be covering how to not be insecure in your relationship. Let's get into it, Half Past Crew.
Welcome to
Half Past Chai.
Half Past Chai. Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of Half Past Chai, where we spill all the cha. We're your hosts. My name is Suketu.
My name is Hallie.
We're a married interracial couple. I'm Indian.
I'm white, if you're not watching the video.
You can't miss it, guys, okay? We talk about being an interracial couple. We share our experiences, but we also share your experiences because you go to www.halfpastchai.com and submit your questions and stories. We release new podcast episodes every Monday at 7 a.m., so if you're new here, you better subscribe and turn on your post notifications. Like this video right now. It helps the algorithm a lot. And if you're not watching on YouTube, then Spotify or Apple Podcasts is what you're watching this on. That means you need to follow and give us 5 stars because that makes it so this podcast is reached out to the masses. Okay? Settle in, get cozy, grab your cha, and let's get into it.
I just want to talk real quick about the debate of chai versus cha. Because we got some comments because we talked about it last time. What are we saying? Because I just said chai.
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Well, look, there's 2 sides to this. There's people on the cha side who are like, hey, stay authentic to yourself.
Get it. I totally get it.
That makes sense. And then there's the other people who are like, chai is just more widely known, so why don't you just use that and it'll get you more outreach? I'm like, good point. Do we want that or do we want to stay authentic? I want to stay authentic. But, it's a tough battle between us. It's just like, okay, both are correct. The problem is that neither one is wrong.
Right.
It's just one is known globally and can relate to a lot more people. So I don't know.
Well, so think about it this way. If I go to some random American people who aren't super familiar with Indian culture and I say, hey, we have a podcast called Half Past Cha. They're like, what? What is that?
You like chai tea?
Chai tea? Half Past Chai tea? I wanted some of that. Let me go to Starbucks.
We should have named the podcast Half Past Chai Tea.
Oh my God, that would infuriate so many people, myself included.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it'll level itself out. We'll get enough comments to be like, hey, just go with this. And so,
but it shouldn't matter about comments.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, to me, I'll always say cha. I'll always say it. So it's up to you. You say what you want to say.
I don't know.
Either way is right. It doesn't matter.
I get there are different reasons behind both of them. I get wanting to stay authentic to what we started with from day one, but at the same time, more people will understand. But at least in the spelling, it's still like people know what that is.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I don't care. The spelling is still chai.
I don't know.
So, I'm going to say chai. I don't care.
Let us know what you think.
There is no vlog this week, everybody, because I'm being lazy, but also I just needed a break. Guys, I edited for the last 2 weekends over 12 hours. And this is on top of like our side business stuff. So like we have photos that we take and videography that we do on the side. And so I have to get the client work done plus our stuff done. And that's a lot. So I just need 1 week break. I'll get back to you next week. Okay, don't worry. So no vlog this week, but we still need you to go ahead and submit your questions because next week is Questions of the Week episode.
Episode 55.
I'm so excited. There's so many questions already submitted, but we want more. So if you haven't, go to www.halfpastchai.com, submit your questions and stories. You will most likely be featured. And if you want your name shared, write your name in. If you don't write your name in. Boom. That's it.
Lastly, remember guys, the Cuban Club is a wonderful place that you can get some Indian food from. So be sure to use code Hallie20 for 20% off of your order. It's amazing. They will ship it to you. It's delicious. You will love it. You will eat it. It's fantastic. So just remember Hallie20, 20% off. Go do that right now.
Now for the main topic. Insecurities in a relationship. First of all, we need to cover like what causes insecurity in a relationship, Hallie?
I think a lot of things can cause insecurity in a relationship. I'll say number one, the first thing that comes to mind is bad past experiences. Trauma, absolutely. Low self-confidence, if you have, which I think everybody in life goes through stages of having tons of confidence and not having tons of confidence. And it kind of ebbs and flows throughout life. And these two things, I'll ask you the same question, but these two things come to my mind when I think of insecurity in a relationship. All the trauma that you carry, past experiences, past relationships, not having self-confidence, whether it be because of that or for other reasons, that can cause a lot of insecurity in relationships. And it's a very serious topic.
I know. And I have insecurities. I feel like Hallie's very secure, but I have insecurities. So that's why we're going to go through the 10 signs of insecurities in a relationship. Okay. The first one being a constant fear of losing your partner.
Have you felt this way?
Yeah. Why? I don't know. We're married. I don't know what the deal is. The thing is like, it's not like losing like your part, like them maybe leaving you.
So that is losing your partner.
Exactly.
You just said it's
And so that's all within myself, right? That's all like I'm insecure in that way. It was like, why would this amazing woman want to be with me?
So when have you felt that way? Like, you don't feel that way now, do you?
No, not now. But like I used to, like when I was in college, maybe. I don't know why though. Like, I don't know.
Was it something that I was doing to make you feel insecure?
No, not really.
Then what was it? What was it?
I think it was just like in the past, I had experiences where the person I was with, attention was elsewhere. And so I was always assuming like, oh, if I'm not with this person constantly, then their attention is not mine. So it's going to be somewhere else. That's just how I've always perceived it. And I think it's just the first example you gave, which was past traumas.
Yeah, past traumas, exactly. Yeah. So you're saying your relationship before me, that was the deal, that was the situation, and the attention was split, and then you came to find out that it really was going to somebody else. So I can understand fully your perspective on that.
Yeah. And it's not fun, but have you experienced it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, there were times maybe earlier on in our relationship when it felt a little bit rockier. I mean, obviously I don't feel that way now, we're married, but yeah, I can't think of specific examples, but I think overall, just in general, there were a lot of things in our relationship going against us. And I constantly thought to myself, well, I don't know how this is going to work out. Maybe he'll choose to be with an Indian girl instead of me, because it'd just be easier in that way.
That's so sad.
I mean, I guess in the back of my mind, there was a little bit, because we did have a breakup period and that was really hard. But I think after that, after we came back together after breaking up, we established that things were going to be different and we were going to, be more intentional in the way that we treat each other and make time for each other. And yeah, I think it changed after that, because I knew for a long time that I wanted to be with you. We've been together since high school. So for me, yeah, I think after we had that breakup period, I wasn't afraid of that anymore. Yeah. We grew stronger and better in our relationship, individually and in our relationship. Yeah. So that was nice.
I agree. And the last thing I'll say about this one is, if a relationship lacks trust, it is doomed. And in a healthy relationship is 100% built on the trust.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have with each other. And so if you feel this way, if you feel like you constantly am afraid that your partner is going to leave you for somebody else or whatever it may be, just know that that's not the way to live. That's not good. If you think like this is for real, like you think this is actually going to happen, then maybe you shouldn't be in that relationship. Do you feel that way?
Yeah. And I would say, if you're feeling this way about your significant other, look within really and figure out why it is you're feeling this way. And if it's something within you, like we've talked about, past experiences, trauma, social anxiety, like all these things, then there are ways that you can go about solving that. But if it's an issue with your partner and it's like they've given you reasons not to trust them, then like,
Yeah.
cut that. I don't know. It's not doing you any good keeping that person around. So I would just consider, if it is them that they're making you feel insecure, then you need to have a talk. And if it doesn't go well, then see ya.
I agree.
I mean, that sounds blunt, but at the same time, if they're making you feel terrible, like trash, then you should not be with them.
Sign number 2, one of my favorites, jealousy.
Oh, we've talked about jealousy before, haven't we?
Oh, yes. Okay, so in a committed relationship, jealousy is okay. A healthy amount of jealousy is fine.
Like, what is healthy jealousy?
I think it's necessary to have healthy jealousy. And a lot of experts, and I'll source everything down below as well, but a lot of experts also believe that jealousy is okay to have. It creates that ability to have that back and forth in a relationship of just, I don't know how to explain it, but I like jealousy sometimes.
That is such a toxic trait that
To
me, that's toxic.
No, like, let's say I talk to another girl, you're like, why are you talking to her? I don't know. I just like when you say that. Is that weird?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
To me, that means you've.
But I think there's a dangerous level that it can get up to. If you constantly like check somebody's phone, or your partner's phone, you constantly check their location, you're always worried about like who they're talking to and all that, that's a bad thing. But when it's just like for fun, like when you're doing it back and forth for fun, I think that's okay. You don't think it's okay?
No, that makes me mad.
That's so funny.
Not really.
I don't know.
I don't enjoy that. If you are constantly like, and I tell you this all the time, not all the time. This doesn't happen all the time. But if I'm talking to a guy and you just like come up and you're like, what are you talking about? You can just be like, hey, what are you talking about? Like, what's up? What's going on? Or like join the conversation, but like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's how I hear it in my head.
It's the tone. But that's because you probably experienced something like that. I don't know. Why you... I never give you like that kind of tone.
Oh, you are such a liar.
When it comes to that jealousy stuff, like I don't give you like a tone.
See, to me, just you saying that, which again stems from your past relationships where the person you were with was actually talking to other people. I've never done that. What's frustrating is that you take that out on me when you've had past traumas that have made you believe that have proven to be true, that you are treating me like that when I've given you no reason to treat me like that. And it's frustrating to me.
No, I get it. So you do not believe that there's a healthy amount of jealousy?
Absolutely not.
So like no jealousy.
I don't like being jealous because it's unnecessary. It takes up my brain space for me when it doesn't need to. It upsets me. I hate feeling jealous. I don't want to feel jealous over anybody.
Well, we all have Hallie's perspective now. So the next one is about disbelief is number 3. And that's just has to do with like constantly questioning your partner. Like you won't trust what they're saying. Like they're always
what they're saying or doing.
What they're saying or doing. Like you're always in constant disbelief. Like you just can't believe what they are saying back to you. Like if you ask them a question, you're like, no, you didn't. That's not true. Like let's say you went to like a store, and I'm like, no, you didn't go there. Tell me the truth. Like where'd you actually go? Like even though you're telling the truth, like they just can't believe it. This can be really dangerous. There's no good part about it. Like there's no healthy part of being in this disbelief stage. I think the only reason this happens is because somebody experienced something bad, like lying, or if your partner does lie sometimes, like white lies, they're like, okay, when are you actually like lying for fun versus lying for a real reason? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so it's not a good thing. But this is another sign of being insecure in your relationship. If you keep questioning, what do you have to say, Hallie? You're being all...
You literally check my location every second of the day.
I don't... Guys.
You have since high school.
Okay, look. The main reason I actually look at your location is if you're on a run, I need to make sure you're not getting kidnapped.
But
Okay.
I could be. Like, I could still have my phone on me and just being like,
I know
taken
where you
somewhere.
are on the trail. Okay. I know where you're running. So I need to know if you're okay. Number two, if you were gone somewhere, let's say you are at your parents' house, right? And I just want to make sure you're still there in case I need to meet you there, then I'll check your location. I'm also, when I was proposing to you, I made sure I knew where you were and where your parents were and where my parents were, just so everything was on time. Situations like that. Otherwise, why else would I check your location?
You tell me. You check it literally all the time, and you'll be like, "Why are you this place? Why are you here? Why are you there?" Again, it's the tone. I can just like hear it.
I'm not
it's
giving you that tone.
It's ingrained in my brain because there have been situations in the past where you're like, "Why are you here?" Or like, I'll say I'm at a friend's house or something. You're like, "Why are you still here? Go home. Go to bed." Which, like, what the hell? You sound like my dad. My dad didn't even do that to me.
I never did that, only because I know you can't drive at night.
Yes, I can. What are you talking about? You can't drive at night. You literally, I swear to God, you have narcolepsy.
Hallie literally cannot drive at night because, listen, the reason is because she doesn't wear glasses at night and she cannot see. I cannot.
Yes, I can. You are not allowed to tell me that I can't see when you are legally blind in one of your eyes.
Guys, you gotta see. This is the disbelief stuff that we were just talking about.
What are you talking about? You're making me feel like I'm crazy. The only thing that I will say about driving at night is that I have astigmatism, which I think this is what it has to do with. So I see lights differently, and I swear, like, the light just goes straight into my brain. It like burns my head.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a thing. If you're a doctor, tell me.
Believe me on this one. This is how Hallie drives at night.
No, it is not.
She's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Hallie, pull over. I'm driving."
No.
Like, no, this is facts.
When is this ever? Stop pointing your
This is
finger. Look, I
facts.
hate. Start. Also, no. There have been many a times where you check my location and you get like annoyed, like especially when we didn't live together, and you would get like, "What was that?"
No, I remember. I remember I'd be like, "Okay, we're gonna buy a house. We gotta save some money." And then I look at her location. She's at Target. I'm like, "Not again." She was just at Target 3 hours ago.
Okay, do you think that this is like your past? You're just projecting onto me.
And so, yeah, no, I agree with you. But do you think I've improved? That's the real question.
You have, yeah.
Okay, that's the question. Like, only time I look at your location now is when I need to make sure you're okay. That's it.
I do it. I check your location because you travel all the time. So I always just want to make sure, like, if I haven't heard from you and like I figured, you landed, you're getting your rental car and like you're driving, I like to make sure that you've landed and you're okay.
I don't think you actually check my location.
I do, but you stopped sharing it with me. And I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because I checked it yesterday because you were on your run.
Yeah, and I
was trying to figure
unshared
out.
with you like 2 weeks ago probably because I was deleting all my messages. And when if you on iMessage, if you delete your messages and you're sharing your location with that person, then it stops sharing the location if you delete the message.
Oh.
And so that's what happened, and I forgot to turn it back on.
So do you think all that we've talked about thus far makes you seem kind of toxic?
No, I definitely was. I was. You cannot say that I am still.
I want to talk about just for a second, because I remembered this as we were talking, but about the consuming jealousy, like being consumed by your jealousy.
Oh.
To that point, I was never, ever a jealous person until you made me that way.
Yeah.
I won't say you made me, but like being around you,
No.
I started to take that on.
My characteristics started to like
Yeah.
rule over. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we had been dating for 2 days. 2 days.
Yep.
And we were at the state cross country meet.
Yes.
And you were walking beside me. And you would, what was the situation? You
There
were
was just
talking to
another
a
girl.
girl. Yeah. Or like you said hi to her, you were talking to her or something. And I don't remember if it was you or maybe somebody else, but you were like, that doesn't make you jealous. And I was like, no, why would I be jealous?
I didn't say that. It was somebody else who said that.
our friend, was
Yeah.
it Micah?
Yeah. And he was like, what, that doesn't make you jealous? And
I
you were
was
like,
like,
no, that doesn't matter to me.
No, why would that matter? Like, he's in a relationship with me. Why does that matter?
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened. It's not that I became less confident in myself, But it was just over the course of our relationship that I started to feel that way, that I would be frustrated if your attention given to me was split between me and somebody else.
Interesting.
Like you would hang out with other people, which is not a big deal, but like you would hang out with people outside of school and like I wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And that used to really frustrate me. Or like if we were in a social situation and you would pay to me more attention to another girl, I would be like, what the heck? That really hurts my feelings. Like you're laughing at her jokes or you are asking her more questions than me. Why are you doing that? I didn't used to be like that. And then dating you and hearing everything that you would say to me started to rub off on me. And I hated that phase. I hate when I felt like that because it was miserable. I was not happy. I would take that out on you and our relationship and I would be frustrated and I would constantly overthink it and I hated that. And so it took me a long time to get out of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think that happens a lot in younger relationships.
Younger, yes, that's the key
and
word.
So like we were very young when that happened.
Yeah, that's an immaturity for sure.
And you said something about, like I was with other people while you were alone. The next one is about you dread being left alone. Like in a relationship, like if you're insecure, the silence is bad for you.
Yeah,
right?
you tend to overthink.
And yeah, so you overanalyze everything, which can hurt your relationship because you are making up scenarios in your head that aren't actually happening when you're alone. And I used to do this. I used to do it all the time because I was a little,
You're a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was, I did the same thing. It was just immature.
Yeah, I think this is something that you need to live on you guys need to have your own lives sometimes. And that will help you get out of that zone of, being alone can make you feel insecure.
Yeah, you don't need to, if you're dependent on your partner, then I would say it's easier to feel this way because your whole livelihood is them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I will say I do hate being left alone when you go on a business trip because that sucks. It was different it is different now because we live together. So I have our house that I'm in by myself, or like I sleep alone at night. That sucks when you spend every waking moment with somebody. I say that dramatically, but I do love spending my time with you. But at the same time, I do have other things outside of our relationship that can make me happy. Like I've said before, reading, running, going to a park, spending time with Sylvie. I visit with my parents. I have friends. Like I have things to keep me occupied.
Yeah.
It sucks because I don't. And not that when you leave me alone, I think about bad things. I don't. But maybe if we lived together prior to getting married and you were going out and doing things, not necessarily business trips, because you're on a business trip for business. Like you don't really have anything else to do. It's just you. So yeah, I think maybe earlier on in our relationship, it would have been different. But even when I lived with my parents and you lived with your parents, there was no doubt in my mind that, you were doing exactly what you said you were doing. And I would always call you if I was like wondering what you were doing. I'd be like, hey, what's up? What are you doing?
I agree. No, I think it just took time to get, I think every relationship goes through a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But the next one, number 5, has to do with something similar to what you just said, which is snooping on your partner's devices. We already mentioned this as like the jealousy / disbelief one. But this is like an actual point, which is snooping on your partner's device, like not having trust in them. There isn't much to say about this besides, I don't think we ever went through that. I never looked at your phone. You looked at my phone.
Yeah,
once,
one time.
Yeah.
And I found some things.
That's a story for another day, everybody. You got to stick around, maybe next season type story. But we'll go into it someday. Someday we'll go into it for sure.
I found some things.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is the end. We're done.
And it was not the best, but I think it's something that it can harm relationships by looking at other, like your partner's phone, unless you have true like suspicions of something happening. And so
how I mean, it shouldn't be.
Exactly. If you have a
damaging.
suspicion, that's bad. That's not good.
Yeah.
That right there is probably there's some insecurity / somebody's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
If your partner is the reason that you feel this way, it's not your fault that you feel this way either.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's something to clear up is we're not ignoring the fact that other people can be the problem that causes this, right? And it's that you shouldn't feel bad for feeling this way if your partner's the one making you feel this way.
Yeah, and some people can be such gaslighters, toxic people, and make you feel like you're the problem, but you're not.
You sound like you're speaking from experience.
Well, I'm just saying sometimes things have happened in our relationship. Like, okay, well, this is the most minor of examples, but they're like, even today, I was cleaning our house, like literally doing something for us.
Yeah.
And I was, oh my God, here I'm saying out loud, it sounds insane. And I was making cha as well. I was doing both at the same time while it was,
Yep.
doing its thing. And I left the vacuum on the floor, which keep in mind, it's like super small. So it's not even like it was taking up any space. We have a big house. You're like, oh my gosh, I swear you just leave stuff here, so I'll pick it up. And I was like, I'm literally not doing anything wrong. You are making me feel like I'm doing everything wrong. And then last night too, you did the same thing. I was eating ice cream for like 5 minutes and you're like so mad at me that I wasn't helping you put the laundry or like something. And I was like, can I just get like a couple minutes? Oh my gosh. But that's a prime example. Sometimes people make you feel like you're doing something wrong and you're not. And that's been applied other deeper ways in our relationship. But
no, I'm glad you brought that up. I am a poop head sometimes because look, this is what happened when I was like, if I was just sitting there doing nothing, I was told to go do something, even if there was nothing to do. Like, if I don't know, this happened to me a lot. And then like now when I see that situation, I'm like, oh, Hallie's not doing anything. Hallie, go do that. Like it's like in my brain, it's like ingrained in my brain because that's how I grew up. And I'm like trying to get rid of it because like we're allowed to relax. We're allowed to take breaks. But like in my head, sometimes I'm just like, if I'm working, Hallie has to be working. Like that's not true. But when I was a kid, like I've always like, if I ever took like a second to like watch TV or play video games, I was always criticized for that. And I think that is something that's still ingrained in my head that I'm trying to get past. Okay. So thank you for calling me out. Growing up, it was one of those things where you kind of had to have a task. You had to do something. I mean, it's okay to have that. You know, my parents were strict, but they weren't like crazy strict. They just wanted me to be productive. And I think that was where I, didn't shine the best. Okay. I wasn't very, very productive. And so I was always either watching TV, playing video games, not doing my homework, whatever it may be. And so I was always harped on to be like, hey, get it done, do this, blah, blah, blah. Or if there was something outside, like my dad always used to like ask me to mow the lawn and I'd be so bad at it. I'd be really bad at it. So like, on purpose. So that I wouldn't have to do it. Like I would do stupid stuff like that. Anyways, there was always that little voice in my head that said, like, if you're sitting down doing nothing, then you're doing something wrong. Like that's just in my head because I was always told to continue to do something. But yeah, that's just kind of me.
And it's so interesting too, which this could be like a whole thing in itself, but just you don't realize until you get older the influence that your parents have on your upbringing. Mm-hmm. Like I see now so many things that I see in my parents that I'm like, oh my gosh, I do this, or I say this, or like, this is so similar. This is what they've always done. And now I'm doing it. And it's so crazy. You literally are a product of your parents fully through and through. Like see how they are now and compare it to how you act as well.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Number 6, everybody, you seek unnecessary attention. I am 100% guilty of this. I need Hallie's attention 24/7. And I'm still getting over this one. I don't know how to get over it. I'm going to try my best, but just reading through it, guys, it's some attention seeking habits such as desire for frequent reassurance are similar to the ones of unresolved insecurities.
Oh my goodness.
So like this is I always want Hallie to reassure me that she thinks I look attractive. She thinks I dress nice. She thinks like I want her to say I love you all the time. Like all these things, they sound normal, but sometimes it's unnecessary, right? Like sometimes it's just like I should know, like she knows, I know that she thinks I'm attractive. She doesn't have to say that every day, right?
But I do say it every day.
I know, but like you know what I mean. It's just it can get unhealthy if you keep asking for it.
Well, I fully understand that because you and I both need words of affirmation to feel loved and seen and appreciated by each other. So I understand why, because I literally do the same thing, not necessarily in the same form that you do. You'll be like, can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? And I'll be like, okay, I literally say this every day. Do I look okay in this outfit? Do I look okay? And then you give me like the biggest reaction. You're like, oh my God, you look gorgeous. I love that outfit. I love that color on you. It matches your eyes, whatever. You go above and beyond. I know that I can be better at it. I think one thing that I struggle with is not fully expressing my feelings. That's something that this podcast has really helped me with and challenging me to think a lot more about my own thoughts and why I feel that way and saying things that I wouldn't always say, expressing my opinion. That's always been hard for me because I'm a quiet individual. Again, that my parents are both kind of like that. We do express things, but like, I don't know. I don't express myself probably in the way that I should be to match some of your needs in our relationship to make you feel special. And I wrote it down. One of my goals for 2024 is to love you more in your love language than mine. Because I have my own love languages and how I feel special. And I would hope that you would do the same for me, but I definitely need to work on that because I try to be conscious about it. And I try to, which obviously like in my head, I love you, which I tell you I love you all the time, but you want it more than I say it. And so in my head, I'm like, oh, he knows that I love him. I don't have to say it all the time. Which that actually, that sounds pretty bad, but I do love you.
No, I get it.
And I tell you, does that make sense?
It makes sense. It's just, so when you seek, going back to the attention part, it's okay to want that, right? It's okay to, it can become a problem if you're not gaining the attention that you really need from your partner, right?
Well, yeah, because you'll just feel really unsatisfied and like, I want this and I'm trying to tell my partner that this is what I want and need and they're not respecting that.
Exactly. And so I think you need to communicate with that to your partner saying, hey, this is the kind of attention that I need from you, which will help you stop asking for unnecessary attention. So I think there's a limit there. There's like a limit of asking for reassurance all the time. That makes you feel insecure. That also makes your partner feel like, oh, this person doesn't like really like value themselves. They don't have any of that confidence. Yeah. And so that could become a problem. And this leads perfectly into the next one. Number 7, you argue unnecessarily. Okay. This is a very big problem with myself. Like sometimes in a relationship, in a healthy, unhealthy, whatever it may be, you bring up debates. You have this communication strategy that you want to just be able to argue with the other person. And I think this is related to needing attention. Okay? I think the reason that I argue with you unnecessarily is because I want your attention. And the way that I got attention back in the day is by arguing. When I would bring up something, when I would bring up a fight, all attention's on me. So I was attention seeking. Now I'm like, oh, let me start an argument. Like in my head, I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm going to start an argument with Hallie. It just kind of freaking happens naturally because I'm messed up in the head. All right. And so like, I think that's why I start arguments because I want your attention, which is kind of stupid.
But that's bad attention. Does that matter to you?
I don't listen. If I understood it, I wouldn't do it. But I got to stop it.
Well, yeah, because that's never going to cause a good interaction between us. I'm never going to be happy if you purposely start an argument with me. I'm not going to see it from the perspective of, oh, he just wants attention right now. I'm seeing it from the perspective of what is his problem? Why is he bringing up stupid stuff that doesn't even matter. And that's what it is most of the time. I swear most of our arguments, and I think so many other couples will agree with this, so many of our arguments about things that don't even matter. And it's like, why? Because to me, I hate bringing stuff up that's going to start an argument. I'm not a super confrontational person. I am working on it, but with you, it's easier for me to talk about my feelings than others. So with that being said, I hate bringing things up if I'm like, this is pointless. This is going to lead to nothing. Like, we've had this same argument so many times. What is the point of bringing it up?
No, I agree. 100%.
You do?
It's the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
So like the reason we make these podcasts, first of all, this podcast episode is I'm going to watch this back and like take notes because
Please.
I need to be better. Me too.
Me too.
I think the next point, which is number 8, excessive worrying has to do with this as well. Worrying all the time about your partner.
What are some things in our relationship that you worry about?
I think it's more towards like, I don't know, is she still in love with me as we're married? But like, I don't know why. I think it's because I do dumb things. Like I do stupid things sometimes, like start these little arguments. I feel like sometimes I'm not the best I can be in terms of being a husband. And that makes me feel like, oh my God, like, am I doing a bad job? Like, does she actually like still love me? But at the end of the day, I know you still do. But that's like the only thing in terms of worrying. And then the other thing is like when you're on a run, are you okay? That's the only kind of worrying I feel like I do. And besides that, traveling like constantly, I'm always like, okay, if I'm gone, like, is she going to be okay? Like I try and do as many things as I can before I leave. Because I don't know, I do quite a few things in the house that kind of help. And so like you don't do those specific tasks. So I sometimes worry to make sure that you do them, but that's the only kind of worry that I have. I don't think I have excessive worrying.
What do you think of somebody who's insecure in their relationship would be considered excessive worrying? And maybe it goes back to some of the other points that we've had of constantly wondering where your partner is, or like, are they telling you the truth, or who are they talking to? Why are they talking about this? Why are they laughing with this person?
I think exactly what you just said. It's just talking, like, keep bringing that up. Like whenever, if you're in a relationship and you keep bringing up worries that you have to your partner, or you keep thinking about your partner and you can't stop thinking about them in like negative ways, I think that signifies as worrying.
To me, you've given me, well, I mean, again, but long time ago, you gave me a few reasons to be iffy on my trust with you and all the things. But since then, since we've been married, you've given me absolutely no reason to have lack of trust in you.
Mm-hmm.
You've done a really good job of being respectful of our relationship. Like, even if you have girl friendships, that's fine. Like, that's okay. I don't care. But obviously you make it clear what your intentions are. And like, you know, we're married. And if I have guy friends, which most of our friends we're like all in the same friend group, but we make it very clear, obviously, they know and respect that we're in a relationship and it's a very serious relationship. In my head, you've really given me no reason not to trust you. And some advice that I got from somebody is, you know, if you can't worry excessively about things that you can't control. Like, I can't control what you do, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I only have control over my reactions and how I handle things. So if you're going to go out and cheat on me, you're going to do that. And it's nothing, I can't prevent you from doing that. Like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Then we're done. But in my head, that's not anything that I can do. I can't do anything about that. Does that make sense?
I think it's really hard for people to understand that. Like, people are like, this is my soulmate. Like, if they cheat on me, like, it's over. Like, my life is over type situation. Oh, and I
totally understand. If that were to ever happen between us, I don't know what would happen to me. But at the same time, you know, you chose to do that.
Mm-hmm. I think if you're worried about this happening to your partner, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Exactly.
And so then you probably just shouldn't be with them. And it's very hard to swallow that pill. But if that is a concern in your relationship, I think it's important to at least bring it up not just to your partner, but to others, just to talk about it. Do they see it that way as well? I think it's good to get different perspectives from trusted individuals.
Well, that's if you actually have like a gut feeling that something's going to happen. I'm speaking a little bit more generally on, I have a lot of trust and faith in our relationship. But again, if you're going to do something that's going to damage our relationship, that's not within my control. I can only control how I respond to that.
100% agree. Number 9, you constantly stalk them on social media.
Do you stalk me on social media?
I do not stalk you on social media because our life is on social media. So like, I don't like, I kind of know what's happening on there, and you'll usually be like, hey, can you go like my stuff? Can you go like my stuff and comment?
Why are you not liking and commenting on my stuff?
Make sure you share on your story.
Yes.
And so like, it's not like I can stalk Hallie. But I do have to say something. Hallie stalked me when I was in high school. Hallie stalked me on social media before she met me. Is that true, Hallie?
Well, I did. Because I wanted... Okay, and I don't even want to fuel your ego even more because you did the stupid lip dub. Not stupid, it was good. But you did the lip dub, and I was like, oh, I know who this guy is. I want to get to see who he is. But I think... and I'm ashamed of this now, but on your original Instagram account, which I don't think anybody here actually follows, so that's good. I'm just gonna go and delete them. I commented some things with like, if you were in picture, if you had your arm around a girl like that, I only did that. I was commenting negative things like as a joke, but it was because your thoughts and jealousy started to rub off on me. So I was like, I don't like this. This is a problem. But at the time, it was a joke. But then that was also when Instagram got updated to like, if you were tagged, because it didn't used to do this. If you were tagged in something, it would notify the person if somebody else commented on it. And I got in trouble for that one time. But it was kind of funny because it was by some guy that was like so mean to you. And I was like, dude,
that's hilarious.
Yeah. So I'm going to go and delete those because
just in case somebody gets hands on them.
Yes.
But yeah, it can be a problem if you're constantly stalking them on social media. If you need to stalk your partner on social media, that's a problem right there. That means you guys are not communicating. You guys are your trust is gone out the window.
Yeah, like what if I just opened your Twitter, which like you don't even go on there that much, but I'm like, let me see your DMs. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. I know Hallie gets a lot of requests to send feet pics, but even then I'm like, Hallie, go for it. $500 is $500.
Really? You feel that way? You want me to put my dogs out there in the world?
I mean, if it's $500,
you want me to sell my body for only $500?
I mean, if it's just your feet. Anyways, number 10, the last topic. You suspect everyone around your partner as if they want them.
Oh my gosh. All right, tell me how you feel about this.
I think this, look, as a guy, like I can see the way people look at Hallie sometimes. Like I just know, like I can see like if they, look you up and down, like I can see what happens when you meet other people. And so
like what?
I can just note, I have a gut feel, like I don't know. The guys out there, do you have that gut feeling to your significant other? Like, I don't know. Like maybe the girls even can talk about it. Like if a girl has this guy and he goes up to a girl and the girl like checks him out or something, like you can just tell. And so this last one is if you suspect everyone, like that's an issue. That is an issue.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem. Like if you think that your partner can just be taken away like that by some random person, that's a problem.
Like for prime example, like you could have anybody, but you're with me. Why are you with me?
Yeah. People who say that are, yeah.
Like, why are you with me? Oh my God. Tell me why you're with me. You do that.
Hallie
you do that to me.
Says that all the time.
Well, when I ebb and flow through my self-confidence, and especially like on my period and everything, and I feel bloated and I'm breaking out right now, and I'll be like, oh my God, why are you with me? I hate the way I look right now. Oh my God. And I'm so guilty of that. I'm so aware of that.
And then I praise Hallie about how beautiful she is, and she still doesn't get the point. But
See, because again, I don't like it's very hard for me to believe you. I have days where I'm like, I'm the ugliest person on planet Earth. I have so many days where I feel like that. And I think everybody out there, especially women, probably go through that because look at Sylvie. Oh, and then I hold Sylvie and then everything's okay. Sylvie, do you have any words? Oh, you're so cute. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I think most people out there go through that all the time. And so it's nice that I have you to tell me those things. But I have a hard time believing you. And I have a hard time because I've only been, to me, attractive the last like 3 years. So it's very new to me because I didn't like the way I looked. I was a lot heavier in years prior. So like this self-confidence thing is very new to me. So like I've never had it and it's fantastic because I've just always been, and even my parents, I think maybe that's a big part of it is because my parents, oh, you're so gorgeous. And I get it from their perspective because they love me so much, but I don't feel that way. And so I don't believe you when you say these things to me. You're like, oh, that guy was checking you out. No, he was not. Like, I don't believe you because that's
100% was checking her out.
Because that's never happened in my life. So it's a very new thing to me.
As we've gone through all 10 points, and I think this is probably a good time to give your perspective on how to fix insecurities. And I'm going to name a few, and then you can name anything you would like to see. So like the way to boost your self-esteem by taking care of yourself. You know, self-love is very important. And I think that you need to communicate with your partner. Those two things can take care of half of the insecurities you have. Take care of yourself, do things that you love doing, do things that make you feel confident, and then communicate with your partner. Talk to them. If you have insecurities, say, I'm insecure about this topic. And then they can be like, they can at least explain to you. If they come and attack you, like, why do you feel this way? Blah, 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 blah. That's a problem. And maybe they should also go into more of this, understanding how to communicate better with you. But I think those two things definitely need to do. Do you have any advice?
Well, I would say, yeah, the biggest one right there is communicating how you're feeling to your partner. Because anytime I'm feeling confused or lost or insecure and I voice that to you 99% of the time, or let's say 100% of the time, you always make me feel better about it. Or you explain things to me and that helps me. I mean, yeah, that I would say that's number one. Number two, stop overthinking. Absolutely. That's the biggest kill. I mean, and anybody will tell you this, but don't overthink the little things. It's going to get you nowhere and it's just going to send you down a spiral.
And practice this while you're alone. Stop overthinking when you're alone. That's harder to do than when you're with people. It's going to be hard, but that's something you just need to figure out. It's going to take time. It's not going to be an overnight type situation, but it's very important to stop overthinking when you're alone.
And to do that, you could occupy yourself with other things. Try going on a walk or take yourself out on a date. Do things that are going to, help you occupy your headspace in a good way.
Yeah, and if none of these work and you want to aid these other topics these other ways to be less insecure, therapy, big one. I think that's a great way just to have a professional talk to you about how to handle certain situations or just to be able to talk to somebody else about what's happening in your life.
Yeah, if you feel like you can't talk to anybody close to you or they don't understand or they're not super neutral on it, they have an opinion or whatever, go to therapy, go see a therapist. I guarantee you it will just help you to voice your opinions out loud to a third party who is not biased and can just provide general life advice. If they've been in that situation, they can help you out.
And that's it. Those are all our tips. Hope you got something out of the 10 signs of insecurity. If you are feeling any of these, if you're feeling any of these 10 signs, comment below. Let us know which one you're feeling most of and why. That would be amazing for us to understand our audience and also for others to gain perspective. Like, hey, you're not the only one. We feel at least 5 of these 10, right? And we're married. So it's not uncommon to feel these things. Okay. So I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, I feel these, so I'm not a good person. That's okay to feel these things. As long as you acknowledge that you feel these ways, then at least you can start addressing the issue.
Yes. And it's so normal. Again, we related to, we had stories about each one of these insecurities, and that's okay. We're human. It happens, and you have to experience negative emotions, negative feelings, insecurities in order to grow from them. So it's okay that you're feeling these things.
Everyone, thank you all for watching. Make sure you use Hallie 20 for 20% off the Cumin Club. There is no vlog, but hopefully next week. A reminder, go to www.halfpastshot.com to submit your own questions. Next week is Questions of the Week episode. So please go there, and we want you to know, Half Past Crew, that we love you. We thank you for your support. We're so excited to keep growing this podcast in the community. If you want, join the Discord. We have a big community there that talks almost every single day. Thank you all for watching. We will see you next Monday at Half Past Shot.
I just want to thank everybody for caring about my finger journey. It's still slanted and sideways, but it's growing back. You made it bleed yesterday. You hit it so hard.
It's your fault.
It's my fault. Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it because I didn't put the vacuum away?
It's because you didn't help me, Hallie. You know,
You're such a gaslighter.
Such a good gaslighter.
Yeah, you are. Can we go get coffee now?